Hey, welcome back to Trina Talks. I'm your host Trina, and welcome back. It's been a fat minute since it's been a long time since I've recorded on this podcast. We are starting with a new season, so welcome to season 2, everybody. This season is going to be filled with a lot of fun guests, a lot of fun content. Basically, I got really busy and I didn't have time for the podcast anymore, and I wasn't quite putting my best energy into it. But now we're back and we're better than ever, and like I said, it's gonna be 10 times better than the first season. So I thought we would kind of start off by giving a little life update first off, and then we'll get into the fun topic, which, as you read the title, is part 2 to the boys episode, basically, where we're gonna talk about all things boys. So let's start by giving a little life update so you guys know what's been up with me. Basically, I'm recording this while I'm home for summer. I'll be going into my junior year of college. I'm a design major, a psych minor. I'm going to be on my college's dance team. If you didn't know, I joined my freshman year and then I quit, and we're back, so I'm really excited for that. I'm also on my school's esports team. I'm on their marketing department, so I'm a marketing manager. Obviously I do content creation, as you guys know. I have a YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram, the whole thing. I even have a Discord now, by the way. What else? I have 5 jobs currently. I work as a gymnastics coach. I write for a few different magazines. I do interviews for a few different magazines. I'm going to be a publicist. I've also been working on my poetry a ton, so that's been fun. If you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you would know that I've been posting it. Maybe working on something with that. You guys will have to stay tuned for that. Also, I'm launching a jewelry brand that's fully waterproof, handmade, personalized jewelry brand, because basically I got tired of never being able to find jewelry for me because I'm a dancer, so I sweat a lot, or I swim in the summer, or basically I don't like to take off my jewelry. I shower with it, so it's fully waterproof. It won't tarnish. There's no metals. It's safe for kids. It's safe if you're an athlete, whatever it is. If you love the beach, I got you. That's called Splash and Sparkle, and it'll be launching soon, so stay tuned for that. All right, now that we got the little life catch up out of the way, because I think that's all I have to cover, let's get into the episode. If you have not heard the first part to this episode, which is called Boys, I think it's the second episode of season 1. You should go listen to it because I have some interesting stories on there. But let's get into it. We're gonna deep dive because while I've been gone, you guys have kind of missed something. I was in a relationship for 9 months, and I've been single for about a month and a half now. So if that gives you any preface to this episode, I've had a lot of crazy stories, a lot of guy friends, and I feel like maybe you guys will be entertained by this. So where to even start is the question. I feel like a lot of friends and guys that follow this podcast, they're in these stories, so I can't share quite all of them because I don't want to out them like that. But if I have a story about you, hey, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting. So we're gonna start off with the one that I like to call Picasso. So Picasso is the guy, okay, and Picasso is the nickname that my friends and I had for him. So let's set the scene, right? It's my sophomore year of college, which was the last year. I had just gone back to school. I think this was like September, and there's this guy from the baseball team, and I was like, you know what, he's kind of cute. So I kept seeing him around or whatever, and one night we have like this game room at my school where basically you have like pool, ping pong, all that, and there's couches that you can just chill on. So one night I went with my friend Valentina. We're on these couches and we're just chilling there, and this like group of guys walk in, and there's like this soccer game going on, so they put on the TV, we're all talking, whatever, and Picasso walks in, and I was like, kind of freaking my freak out because I was like, oh my gosh, like he's here, like whatever. And my friend Valentina was like, oh, just ask for his Snapchat. And I was like, there's a room full of people right now. I was like, how am I supposed to do this? So basically, we ended up sitting there for like 2 hours with these people that we didn't know, talking with them, I don't know, random conversations. And he's just playing pool with his friend. And I'm like sitting there the whole time trying to like work up the guts to like go talk to him. So basically, I'm on this couch with Valentina that's like on the left, and he's on the couch on the right with him and his friend. And so Valentina's like, Trina, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go talk to his friend, and you're gonna go sit next to him on the couch. I'm like, I'm gonna what? I was like, let's back this up. She goes, yeah, you got this. I was like, I don't know if I do. Keep in mind, I'm pretty sure I was wearing like PJs. Like, I wasn't really expecting the night to go like this. So I was like, oh, okay. So basically, she gets up, she's talking to the friend is still playing pool, and then Picasso comes and sits down on the couch. And I was like, am I just supposed to like get up and like go sit next to him? Because that seems a little weird. But I was like, you know what? For the plot. So I get up, I go sit next to him. He's like, hey. And I was like, hey. That was it. And I was like, oh, this is going really bad. And then I was just sitting there just next to him, didn't have my friend, and I was like kind of freaking out low-key. Valentina comes back and sits on the couch just next to me. She's like, did you do it? I was like, no. I'm like, I can't do it with all these people. So then the people start to leave, and I was like, okay, this is getting better. So I think there was like about like 3 people there, and he stands up to go play pool again. And I was like, oh, no, like I'm gonna miss my chance. Valentina's like, no. So I stand up with him, and I was like, can I get your Snapchat? When I tell you, that was the scariest like few words I've ever said in my life. I mean it. I was terrified. I was quaking in my boots. And he was like, yeah, of course. He's like, what's your name? I was like, oh, I'm Trina. And then he's like, give me your phone. I hand him my phone, and I hand it to him upside down, you guys. Upside down. I was like, you couldn't be any stupider. I'm also pretty sure Snapchat wasn't even open. I was just freaking out. I didn't expect him to say yes. So clearly unprepared. That's a L on my part. But I gave him my phone. He starts laughing because I gave it to him upside down. Because, a little blonde, a little stupid, whatever. And then he goes, oh yeah, my name's, and then bleep, he says Picasso. He's like, nice to meet you. And he's like, all right, I'll Snapchat you later. So I literally walk out the room. He Snapchats me. I was like, so I'm like freaking out at this point. Valentina and I are freaking out. We're walking back to my apartment, which is like, these are like kind of on opposite sides of the campus. So we're walking back, and then I'm like Snapchatting him back, whatever. And then he goes, do you want to hang out? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, me and my friends are gonna watch a movie if you want to join. And I was like, okay, but can I bring my friend? And he's like, yeah. So I brought Valentina. Guys, this was the funniest situation I've ever been in. We go to this movie night at his friend's room. Keep in mind, there's these two brothers, and they look like twins, right? And then there's him. So one brother is on a chair, the other brother's on one bed, he's on another bed, and then Valentina's on another chair. Then there's this other guy. I'm just gonna like give them their first initials so this makes more sense. So the one guy, he was like random. His name was V. Then we had Picasso, we had Valentina, we had me, and the two brothers were E and L. Basically, how this went down was we get there, they wanted to watch this horror movie. It was called like something like Levels or something. I don't know. Super creepy, super gory, not my type of movie. But I was like, you know what? We're chilling. It's fine. So he has me sitting down next to him on the bed, which I was like, okay. Keep in mind, by the way, this kid had a broken arm. So he had like one of those like things like, when you like have like surgery for like your ACL, he had like that on his arm. So that made this a little more difficult, but it's fine. We were chilling. So I'm like sitting next to him. Valentina's at like the end of the bed on a chair. The guy V is just like literally walking around the room, pacing around. L is on the other bed next to us, and then E is on a chair across from Valentina. So we started watching this movie. E is literally staring at Valentina, and we all know it. It's very uncomfortable, and he's not even paying attention to the movie at this point. L is just talking to V, and like they're just like, I don't even know. V was like running in and out of the room. He went to the vending machine, came back with an armful full of snacks, was like, you guys want some? Like, super nice, And then he kept getting scared by the movie, so he kept running out of the room. He ran to the closet. I don't really know what he was doing, to be honest. He was just, he was going through all the emotions, I guess. Yeah, so we were all just like really comfortable by the fact that like the one guy was staring at Valentina. And then the other one was just kind of chilling there talking with him. And then Picasso was with me. Picasso was not very talkative. Very short one-word answers. Loved to talk about himself. And I was like, yeah, this is not going great. But I was like, we're just going to stick it out. Not a very good choice because it was super boring. And so basically, the movie's going. He offers me Oreos. I was like, okay, whatever, I'm good. And then the movie ends, and he's like, okay, I'll walk with you guys, because it wasn't his room. And we're like, okay, cool. So Valentina and I step out of the room. He's not coming. And we're like, do we wait? Or like, what? He never ended up coming. So we just left. We dipped. Then I get a Snapchat from him later that night. He slept on the floor of these people's room. Because basically what happened was he was so high that he literally was incapable of going to his room, I guess. And I was like, oh, that's so lovely. But then I learned to find out that he doesn't even remember who I am because he was so high. And I remember thinking, like, I saw him the next day and like I said hi to him and he kind of just like looked at me funny. So I asked my friend, I was like, is it possible that like he could be so high he doesn't remember who I am? My friend's like, I mean, it's possible, but that'd be crazy. And yeah, it was possible because I don't think this kid remembers who I am anymore. But I do remember who he is. And yeah. Also, he was trying to tell me that, like, he thinks it's cool to ghost girls. And I was like, that's a wild statement to say to me right now. But yeah, he did tell me that too. So, major walking red flag right there. That was kind of a crazy one. That was, like, kind of like a what happened situation. I was like, I don't know what's happening. And, like, really weird. Alright, we're throwing it back to my freshman year. And this is one that I didn't share on the last podcast episode because I didn't know if I should or not. But you know what? We're just gonna YOLO it now. And we're gonna share it because I feel like it's a good story. I will say, though, it might get a little confusing. So try to bear with me, please, because there's a lot happening. Let's take it from the top. Like I said, I was a freshman. There's this guy. We're gonna call him Slushy because that's the first word that came to my head. So basically, my friend had seen him around and she was like, oh, Trina, what about Slushy? And I was like, no, like, whatever, I don't like him. And then later, like a few months later, I saw him again. I was like, oh, what about him? She's like, that's the guy I told you about. I was like, oh. We're like, okay, let's shoot our shot. So I find him on Snapchat because we had like some mutual friends, and I add him. He added me back. We're like Snapchatting the whole night, whatever, but no conversation, just like pictures, whatever. So then I started to have a conversation with him and ask him what's up, and like he told me he was going fishing, which I think is so funny. I thought we had kind of like a mutual friend, so I asked him and I was like, oh, like, is Slushy single, whatever? He goes, yeah, I think so. And Valentine's Day was coming up. And so my friend was like, oh, well, why don't you give him a rose? Because my school did this thing where, like, you can go and buy, like, a rose for $1 and you can, like, have it delivered to someone, or you can just, like, buy it and hand it to them. And I was like, well, my friend had told me that, but, like, we were thinking, like, leaving it at his door, like, anonymously. And this other friend was like, no, like, you should hand it to him. I was like, I don't really think he's that type of guy. Like, that seems a little crazy. So my friend Valentina and I decided that we were gonna get a rose anonymously and just write his name and leave it outside his door. Then weird things started to go south. So I left him the rose with the note outside his door. I was very excited because I was like, oh, it's just like a sweet gesture. Like, he won't know it's from me or whatever. And so then I think it's like a day or two later, and our like mutual friend comes up to me. He goes, oh, do you want me to tell him that it was you? And I was like kind of like kidding when I said yes, but I guess I didn't like fully preface that. He apparently told him about the rose. I guess that the guy Slurpee like didn't really have a reaction. And so I was like, okay, that's a little weird. So then later, like, our mutual friend goes to tell me that basically he was talking to another girl the whole time, and so he was like uninterested. And I was like, oh, could have been nice to know before, but whatever. Well, then flash forward to this past year, which was my sophomore year. I was talking with Slurpee's roommates. Don't ask me how I got in that situation. I don't know. Basically, they were all on the same sports team. I ended up becoming friends with them. I don't know. Really weird how that ended up happening, but I basically confessed to them and told them, like, that was me. And they told me, like, oh, he never had any clue that it was you. And I was like, wait, what? So I don't really know what happened there in the translation of, like, how the friend was supposed to tell him. And he said he did, but then he didn't. We're not really going to point fingers here. But basically, yeah, I thought that he knew, but he didn't know. But it's okay because he was talking to someone else. But it was really weird. And I think that was, like, yeah, that was crazy. I'm not going to lie. This guy was really cute. So, like, I was like, damn, I really kind of fumbled this one. You live and you learn. I learned that I waited too long because I waited, like, I think 4 weeks to even say a word to him. Like, I said hi to him, like, once, about peed my pants, and then, like, one more time I said, like, what's up, also almost peed my pants. Yeah, that was definitely my bad, because you should not wait that long to, like, literally say hello to somebody, but I did, because I was nervous. So, learned that one. That was a crazy experience. Now, I'm not really friends with him, but I mean, like, I say hey to him. Like I said, we're on the same team, so cool, whatever. I don't know if he even knows it's me. Like, honestly, his roommates might have told him, but I don't really think he cares at this point, because, like, that was, like, a year ago. At least I hope he wouldn't care. But yeah, that was a really weird one that I did not share before. Also, this kid was really shy, so it really didn't help me, because you had me, who was, like, at the time super introverted. Not super introverted, but, like, I didn't like to talk to people. It made me really nervous and stuff, especially guys. I didn't really have any guy friends or anything at that time. So, like, you had me, who was like that, and then you had him, who was super shy. Apparently didn't talk to girls much. And I was like, oh, this is gonna go great. Yeah, that's why there was, like, 0 to none communication. The effort was there, I guess. Or the thought. The effort wasn't so much, because all I really did was say hey, say what's up, and give a rose. So, which honestly is more than a guy's ever given me. So, there's that. Oh, also, speaking of roses, flash forward to this past year, Valentine's. Like I said, I had a boyfriend, right? I woke up the day after Valentine's Day to roses outside my door. Which you might be like, oh, Trina, like, that's not weird. Maybe your friend gave them to you or something. No, I checked with all of my friends, even, like, people I was just kind of acquaintances with. Everyone told me that they didn't give me the roses. So I was like, okay, this was definitely some guy who gave me the roses. Never narrowed it down as to who it was, but really weird, because I was like, I don't know where these came from. Also, I had a boyfriend, so that was kind of weird that someone else was giving me roses at the time. Nonetheless, appreciate the roses, so if that was you and you're listening, thanks. I mean, cool. Okay, I was literally laughing because I don't know how I forgot to tell this story. This is about to be so funny. Okay, this is another wild one. That also happened, like, the first, like, 3 weeks that I was at school this past year. So, like, again, in August / like, early September. So I was trying to kind of, like, expand my friend group with Valentina, so we hung out with these 2 football players for the night. And we're gonna call them C and R, so I don't use their full names. And basically, they were, like, best friends. So Valentina was kind of hanging out with C, and I was kind of hanging out with R. They were really funny. Like, they were explaining, like, a football game to us, because, we were girls, we don't really understand football. Not saying that you can't understand football if you're a girl, but we just don't. So anyways, that was not the point. They were explaining football to us. It was really nice. Well, then I kind of started to notice that, like, C was hitting on Valentina and R was hitting on me. At this point, I was very uninterested, by the way. Okay, like, not a 1% chance of being interested in this guy. So he kept, like, trying to make moves on me and stuff, and I was like, I really need to get him off my back. And I was like, how can I do this? And then I was like, I have an idea. I was like, what if I tell him that my brother also goes to school? and he's really overprotective and like won't let me talk to guys and stuff. So I did, and it wasn't supposed to like escalate as much as it did, but like honestly kind of funny. So basically I told him that, and he was like, oh, like, you know, that's a little crazy. And I was like, yeah. And then he's like, well, what if we just go over to your apartment? I was like, no, I don't think he'd like that very much. So then he started getting scared and thinking that like my brother was like someone's gonna like beat him up and stuff, which I think was so funny. And honestly I kind of rolled with it because I was like, maybe this would get him off my back. I didn't want him to try anything, so I was rolling with it. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you that literally like months later, and I mean months later, he was still coming up to me and asking me how my brother was and stuff, and being like, he didn't know what my brother looked like, by the way. So he'd be like, oh, is he like here? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, do you want to find out? He goes, no, not really. He's like, bye, Trina, have a good day. And to this day, I think that's still so funny and one of the funniest things that I've ever done, because like the fact that he just like rolled with it so much, and he was genuinely terrified. Like, I wish you guys could have seen it. He was actually scared. And I think it's kind of funny, honestly, because like like I said, it was meant to be like a little more innocent, just like to get him off my back. But then I started rolling with it. I was like, no, this is kind of funny. He still believes that to this day. It's been a whole year and he still believes that. But like I said, like I'm not really trying to change that, you know? So we're just gonna let him think that. But yeah, sometimes you gotta get creative, you know? Because like sometimes guys will not leave you alone. Like I've tried with so many people, and like I try to be nice. I try to be like straight up and be like, hey, you know, I'm not interested, or maybe like I'm talking to someone else. I've even used the card of like I have a boyfriend when I didn't have a boyfriend. But like sometimes they just don't care, or they can't take the hint. So you gotta try something else that's like maybe a little more drastic, a little more bold, a little more out there. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Because like what is up with that, by the way? Like guys not wanting to take a hint? That first off, there's so many girls out there. So like if one tells you no, just move on, okay? Second off, if she's trying to tell you politely like that she's not interested, take the hint then before she says something meaner. Because like I can guarantee you that probably 9 out of 10 girls would like to just have it be done with them saying like I'm not interested, because it'd be easier, they get to be nice, the situation can just be resolved. But some guys like to make it so much more complicated and like to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until the girl has to be like, no, like just get away from me. Because I had that happen and it was so bad. There was just this guy who like basically like kept Snapchatting me, wouldn't leave me alone, kept asking me like where I'm at, where am I going, and I would like ignore him, tell him somewhere other than where I was going. He would go up to my friends, ask them like, hey, she's single. My friends would say like, no, she has a boyfriend, which I didn't, but like, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. They said no, she has a boyfriend or whatever, or like she's uninterested. And he would still be like, oh, so can I go talk to her? And they'd be like, no, you can't go talk to her. Like, bro, take the hint. I clearly didn't want to talk to you. Like, sometimes it annoys me so much. Like, just take the hint. It makes all of our life easier, you know? So if you're a guy and you need to hear that, please listen. Because then I had this other guy who kept asking me to watch a movie with him when he was like drunk. And I was like, no. He would ask me every weekend, you guys. I'm not kidding. He would find me too, like on campus, and be like, oh, you want to like just come watch a movie? I'm like, no. He'd be like, please, like just be like an hour. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch a movie with you. Like, get that in your head, you know? And like this guy went on about it for like a month and a half, and it was driving me crazy. And I'm just like, I've literally told you no so many times. But alright, on that note, because I started to get a little frustrated, a little heated, I think we're gonna wrap up the episode. But I think this was a good first episode back, you know, a little spilling the tea, story time type of thing. But make sure to comment. You guys can comment on here, or you can comment on my YouTube, you can comment on my TikTok, Instagram, you can DM me, whatever, of like other episodes that you want to hear, because I always love your guys' ideas, and sometimes I'm not sure what you want me to talk about, so feel free to do that. If not, I'll just keep yapping, you know, as this is called Trina Talks. Thank you guys for your patience of, you know, having that long break that I took, but like I said, we're back better than ever with season 2, a lot of new fun guests coming on, and a lot of fun topics. So I hope you guys have an incredible day wherever you are. Make sure to do something for yourself today. Make sure to stay hydrated. Make sure to get your body moving, you know, even if it's like a little stretch or a little walk, whatever. Do something that makes you feel good, because you deserve it. You're amazing, and I love you guys. I will see you guys next time on Trina Talks. Bye.